I want to talk a little bit about finishing, spraying a finish. What we're going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of stain up here, and the sprayer that we're going to be using, called an Atomizer. You blow in this hole right here. You blow in here, and what it does is it sucks the finish up here, and it causes a vacuum right here at the top. So what this thing does, by blowing the air across the top here, it sucks the finish coming up. Now you can't use like a heavy finish like a varnish that isn't thin, but if you thin the varnish down, then you can also use this for varnishing. I use it for putting on some stains, and if I want to add a little hint of color. So it's kind of a handy little spray thing, and it's like a tiny little airbrush. These things on Amazon are like $5. You do a search on metal atomizer. Here's another tip. I use a lot of sticks. So for stir sticks, so right now I want to stir my paint up. I take a block of wood and I just stick it on the bandsaw, and I cut strips in this way and I cut strips in this way. So every time now I need a stick, I can just break one off. I make a lot of these things because I use a lot of sticks for spreading glue, stirring a little bit of paint, just anything you need a stick for. I'm always breaking a stick off, mostly for spreading glue. So the paint I'm going to make tonight is going to be a little bit of red here. Burgundy, I think, is what this color is. And I'm just going to put a little bit down and mix it with turpentine. So this is an oil paint. So I've got a little bit of oil paint just stuck right to the corner of the can. You can see I just cut off a pop can here. Just put just a little bit in, and then take my handy dandy little stir stick and mix that in. Now almost anything that I paint in a wood carving, I want a very muted color. I want the grain to show through. So that's kind of what I'm mixing up here, something that will just give a little hint of color. And I'll show you the pattern that this atomizer makes. So I think it's mixed in pretty good. So first I'm going to spray it on paper here. So I just hold this in my hand with the little bit of paint here in the corner. I don't know if you can see just a little bit of paint there. It's very thin. You can see the color that I just sprayed out. It's very muted. That's thin enough that will just give a hint of color. So let's try that on the wood. And to see the difference, I'm going to tape off a little section of it. So you can mask off a little part of your carving or with tape. Seal the edges down so it doesn't soak too much under there. And I'm just going to spray it right over that. Now if I pull off the paint now, it'll probably bleed under the paint because it's still wet. But you can see there's quite a color change on there. And you just, if you want it darker, you just let that dry and you just add more to it. This is a very handy thing. What it's really designed for is for the charcoal artists that had to spray the fixative. Fixative comes in a non-spray can, and you can just take and spray the fixative. So this is one that I used years ago when I was doing a lot of charcoal and I was spraying fixative.